been a Myster bringing you exciting StarCraft 2 replays from a rising North American star. This is Rob, aka Tesla, in the bottom right hand corner, and because Blizzard can't code their game, there's this random creepy guy who I guess looks like sort of's dad, and there's supposed to be a clan emblem there, but I guess Blizz hasn't figured that one out yet. I guess that's sort of like LAN. You're going to need to wait a little bit longer for that to be sorted out. But every time I open a damn replay, this creep, I mean, who the hell is this? How did this file, this little PNG picture, get into my StarCraft 2 game files? Like, how am I even seeing this in my game right now? It doesn't make any sense at all. So Tesla, aka Rob, I'm probably just going to call him Rob for the rest of the cast, because whenever I discovered him as a player, he played under the ID Rob. It's not just his first name. So he's going to deny the natural here of GameTime, his opponent, of course, of Sloth Esports, the player who favors drop play. In almost every game I've seen from him, he tries to force his opponent to multitask, tries to go for drops. Oftentimes he'll delay his lair. He plays sort of a bizarre style. It's GameTime. Rob is going to take a fast expansion here and continue to look around for this natural. Now, as Protoss, if you get here before 53 seconds, you can block hatch first. Almost always, if Zerg wants to go hatch first, they'll just take their base at their third. And very frequently, this also means that they're going to take another base at their natural. Now, this sort of muddies the verbal waters for me, because then what the hell do I call the natural and what the hell do I call the third? Because this one's going to get up first, but it's at the third base. I'm just going to go with the positions. Main, natural, third. But notice that not only did Rob delay that first base a little bit, he scouted. And scouting is very important in RTS games. Now that might sound obvious to some people, but hypothetically, GameTime, you know, if Rob didn't scout at all with this probe, GameTime could have been doing one base, Ling Baneling all in. You know, and as it stands, GameTime is on 3 bases, which of course, night and day difference as far as what you have to do as Protoss against a 3-base Zerg as opposed to a 1-base Zerg. And really, I don't think that scouting information can be overvalued. Stargate coming up here for our macro American Protoss. Now, Rob isn't the kind of guy who always tries to go for a macro game. In fact, whenever I first started watching him, it was usually on the stream of other people, namely Idra and Destiny, and he would ruthlessly cheese them. Proxy gates, it was almost always proxy gates, but he would mix in the cannons, he would mix in your standard sort of aggressive warp gate play as well, but man, this guy loved to do proxy gates. And I remember back at DreamHack Austin, I was standing behind him watching him play at one point, and it was one of the at LAN events, people, you know, start their games as a Stargate finished in the main, Oracle's going to get started, and a Robo's up here at the natural. But obviously there's tons of games going, and double Adept Shades go into the main, as I'm going to have to cut that thought off again. And Ling speed finishes, but Rob narrowly makes it back into the main. One of the Adepts dies, and with just one more Adept here, I think GameTime will completely stop any more damage from being done. And he did. He surrounded it with drones. So GameTime's going to be a little bit aggressive here. And to wrap up my thought, as Warp Gate's about to finish and the Oracle comes out to try to deny the Lings, I was standing behind Rob playing this game, and at one point he panned over to like 3 proxy gateways at the guy's 4th. It's just always interesting to see a game like where you start watching halfway through and just absolutely bizarre. Lots of surface area on both of these valuable buildings, the Robo and the Cyber. The Cyber is backed up, the Robo isn't. Gateways 2 and 3 for Rob are not online yet, so Rob just has to delay. He really has to be careful here. Beautiful force field. A lot of you might be asking, why didn't he try to save the Robo? The Robo was not going to be saved with just 1 sentry. The only thing Rob needed to do there was not die to these Lings, make sure these gates could come online. And these Lings are going to get in, but there is so few Lings compared to what there were with the initial attack that it's not really going to be a big deal. Rob can just fight with workers and then move his ranged units over. The time in the game where 6 speedlings is a huge pain in your ass as Protoss is about 2 minutes earlier than this. And I know what you're saying, Protoss players. No, Venomous Stare. Speedlings in your base are always a pain in the ass. Well, there's a difference between just pain in the ass and like, oh my god, I'm screwed for the next 5 minutes. Oracle's going to come out here for Rob, and since Game Time dumps so much money into Lings, he skips Spores. And Rob's just going to turn the laser beam on and go to town here. Look at him. He's just gutting him like Deshaun Jackson, ripping him apart. And I think he's going to be able to get away with a dirty dozen there. 12 kills on that Gooby. Game Time, going into Baneling Nest. He's trying more Ling aggression. It's not really going to work out for him. Notice that Rob remade that Robo. Game Time trying to take a 4th. But whenever you're very aggressive with Lings early on, you have to sacrifice a lot. We noticed he sacrificed his Spores. We noticed he sacrificed his extra Queen to spread creep. Game Time was aggressive early on, and it was very scary. But for Rob, holding that really means that he's ahead. Lair just now starting for Game Time. I mean, this is huge. Roach speed will be delayed. Baneling speed will be delayed. Pretty much anything Game Time wants to do is going to be delayed. If he wants to go into Fast Hive, if he wants to go into Hydra, none of it is going to be timed out as he's used to it being timed out if he's, playing standard, not being aggressive. Templar Archives just now finishing for Rob, +1 being researched along with Charge and Thermal Lance. Of course, Colossus range. A Colossus is being chronoed out, and a Baneling drop here for Game Time, so continued hatchery, tech aggression, and Rob barely pulls away in time, but he loses about half of his workers. And he returns them over. First Colossi about to be done. And with no creep spread and an infestation pit on the way, I would be worried if I was Game Time. Because to me, this style, as we see the Dropper Lord get cleaned up, whenever you get attacked with Dropper Lords, Protoss players, you always want to move your Phoenix around and hunt them down, because Zerg will rarely ever be able to hide them. So we see Game Time here is going for more drops, and this is sort of what I expected from Game Time. Extended hatchery base play, lots of drops, lots of sort of Roachling, Ravager, Hatch. I know he has a lair, so don't get like butthurt in the comments and say, why do you keep saying hatchery tech? He has lair. Well, I mean, does he have Roach speed? Does he have Bane speed? Is he fighting with the... I mean, does he have the ability to make any units that are worth the shit, really? And we see here the Phoenix is actually catching on to the Dropper Lord. It's +2s on the way for Game Time. Banes are going to come out here, but with Rob spotting this, he really shouldn't take damage. And he's going to try to warp in maybe here. He's just going to split his workers. Nice split there from Rob, completely minimizing the damage. Although Game Time is ahead in workers, and he's going to run over here at the 3rd and drop off more Banes. But a big attack is going to come out here at the 4th of Game Time. Speed Zealots crushing forward to Colossus, and Charge Lots as well as Archons are incredibly hard to deal with. I'm just going to pause. See this? Those are called slow Banes. Whenever you have slow Banes, slow Roaches, and Ravagers, oh man. I mean, good luck fighting Archons. Archons have 360 health. Do you know how many Banelings that is? Even with +1. Slow Banelings into Colossus? See, this is what happens when you delay your tech and make a bunch of attacking units in the early game. So let's see how these 50 Banes do. Woo! And Rob does not even lose a Colossus. So 2 extraordinarily weak Colossus here. Archons kite back, and all Rob has to do is make a handful of more units and attack, because even though Game Time has a decent looking force, upgrade-wise, he's screwed. I mean, just absolutely dead in the water without Bane speed, without Roach speed. Tesla's pushing forward here. I'm not going to scream and pretend as though Game Time can somehow still win. All Rob has to do is keep working shit in and A-move at this point. no Bane speed. I mean, it's almost hard to even lose Zealots to slow Banes. Ooh, beautiful split there from Rob as Roberto takes the game. Make sure you subscribe, turn on the bell notification icon, and check out Rob's links in the description.